Swag, defined on Urban Dictionary by user SwaggyWap as being very cool, drippy, or bad
ass.
Furthermore, user YuiBoom123 expands on this definition by stating, being swaggy is very cool, but only the swaggiest people can be swaggy. If you do not have swag, you can leave. Swag is not just about having a good outfit. It is the combination of clothes, influence, confidence, and aura. Someone can wear the most expensive outfit imaginable and still have no swag. In this video, we are going to look at some Final Fantasy characters who I believe radiate the most swag and aura. Final Fantasy as a series is home to many stylish characters, whether it is the clothes, the silhouettes, the real-world influences, or just pure presence. Final Fantasy consistently creates characters who are memorable for their swag. I wanted to take a deeper look at the series and pull out the characters who, in my opinion, represents its highest levels of swag. Out of all the mainline protagonists, there is one character who best represents swag through the outfit itself. Squall Leonhart. Squall is an OG popular loner. He attends Balam Garden to train as a seed mercenary, and carries a weapon called the Gunblade. He spends most of the game acting like conversation is going to kill him. As someone who got into Final Fantasy relatively late, my first introduction to Squall was actually through Kingdom Hearts, where he appears in Traverse Town under the name Leon. I didn't know anything about him, but what I did know is that he had swag. Swag. The reason Squall's design has aged so well is because the foundation of his outfit is pretty understandable. He wears a cropped black leather jacket with a large fur collar over a deep V-neck white t-shirt. He has dark trousers, black boots, gloves, silver jewelry, and his Griever pendant. He wears an oversized belt that wraps around his waist multiple times, with one section crossing diagonally to create that layered, harness-like look. The use of his belt has moved beyond utility and entered artistic expression. If you put Squall's outfit on somebody today, especially someone into Japanese grunge or punk styling, it would not look that out of place. You could drop him into one of those outfit videos, have him slowly spin for the camera while Slide by Plastic Tree plays, and people in the comments would be asking for the jacket ID. The proportions and styling choices behind his design have aged incredibly well. The cropped jacket, fitted shirt, low-slung belt, dark color palette, fur, silver jewelry, and rock influence all resemble things that continue to appear in fashion today. Squall's accessories work in tandem to complement and amplify his fit. The Griever pendant gives the outfit a clear centerpiece, the ring reinforces the same lion motif, and the oversized belt adds even more silver hardware around his waist. Even the chain hanging from his gunblade feels reminiscent of the wallet and belt loop chains used in punk and rock styling. Tetsuya Nomura has said that River Phoenix influenced Squall's appearance, which makes sense when you look at him. Squall feels less like a traditional fantasy hero and more like a late 1990s actor or alternative rock musician who accidentally enrolled in a military school. It is not just his jacket or his belt, it is how well the outfit matches the person wearing it. His clothes communicate his personality before he speaks, which is useful because he would usually rather not speak at all. Final Fantasy VII is by far the most popular Final Fantasy game and is home to many swaggy and auraful characters. We have Cloud himself, the Turks, and Vincent Valentine, but there is one man only who takes the crown in Final Fantasy VII. Genesis. In order to understand what makes someone swaggy, we must take a dive into an example of someone who is forcing swag. Genesis wears the standard black soldier uniform, but separates himself from Zack and Sephiroth with a long crimson leather coat. He pairs it with matching red gloves, black boots, dark straps and buckles, and asymmetrical earrings. You might look at him and think he is biting Dante's red coat swag from Devil May Cry, but Genesis's most important real-world connection is Gact, or Gakuto. Genesis was created through a direct collaboration between Square Enix and Gact. His appearance was modeled on Gact, who portrayed him in Dirge of Cerberus and voiced him in Japanese. Producer Hideki Imaizumi described Gact as a creative partner in developing the character, with the two discussing Genesis's attitude, clothing, and overall presence. Even if you do not follow Japanese music, you might recognize him from this photo. To understand what Genesis was going for, we briefly need to talk about Visual Kei. It is a Japanese rock movement where clothing, makeup, hair, stage presence, and persona are all treated as part of the performance. Malice Miser, Gact's former band, leaned heavily into the gothic and theatrical side of Visual Kei, with ornate outfits, dramatic staging, and performances that felt closer to theater than a normal rock concert. Gact could carry that level of drama naturally, and Genesis is clearly trying to inherit the same presence. But anyone who has played Crisis Core knows that he falls short of that goal. Genesis feels like he was created from a checklist of things the audience is supposed to think are cool. Long red coat, one black wing, and a unique sword. Everything about Genesis is supposed to make him feel tragic, profound, and important. But instead of letting those qualities emerge through his actions, the game keeps announcing them through his dialogue and presentation. That is why the loveless obsession becomes annoying instead of intriguing. Quoting a fictional epic could have made him feel cultured and theatrical, but because he does it constantly, it stops revealing anything new about him. Sephiroth has aura. The contrast hurts Genesis because the game wants Genesis to feel capable of standing beside and challenging Sephiroth, but Sephiroth feels mythological because the world treats him like a myth. The moment the audience can see how hard you're trying to manufacture swag, it stops feeling like swag. Before we move on to the next character,
LARP alert, LARP alert, LARP alert, LARP alert.
I have not played the Final Fantasy XIII saga. However, I have completed enough highly academic research to come to one conclusion. Lightning has swag. With Lightning, I am not focused on whether her original outfit works in real life. Her design makes sense within the futuristic world of Final Fantasy XIII. Instead, I want to focus on her aura and presence. Look at these photos. Even without me playing the games, there's certain traits that I could infer. She looks strong, calm, and confident. Her posture is controlled and her expressions are restrained. This matters because swag does not only come from clothes. It also comes from the ability to give clothes meaning. Lightning's presence is strong enough that you could remove her from her original outfit, place her outside her universe, and dress her in completely different clothing while she still looks like herself. Actual fashion houses notice this as well. In 2012, Lightning appeared alongside Noel, Snow, Saz, and Hope in a 12-page Arena Plus editorial where the Final Fantasy XIII 2 cast modeled Prada's Spring-Summer menswear collection. These were actual pieces from the real collection placed onto Final Fantasy characters. This was Prada looking at the cast and saying they could model. Then, 4 years later, Lightning returned as part of Louis Vuitton's global Spring-Summer 2016 campaign, Series 4. This time, she was not just part of a group, she became one of the central figures of the campaign, wearing designs created under Nicolas
Guesquier
was very intentional about why Lightning worked. He described her as the perfect avatar for a global heroic woman, and as a symbol of new ways of creating images beyond traditional photography and design. Lightning represented the campaign's overlap between reality and fantasy, physical fashion, and digital identity. But there's also a simpler explanation on why this works. Lightning looks expensive. Even after replacing her armor, weapons, and original clothing, she still looks completely in character. Part of why it works is that Lightning already has the posture, composure, and visual presence associated with a fashion model. The clothing changes, but the confidence and poise remains. That is where Lightning's swag differs from Squall's. Squall's swag is tied heavily to his specific outfit. The fashion did not give Lightning swag. It proved that her swag was never dependent on her original clothes in the first place. Lastly, we have the boys of Final Fantasy XV. Noctis, Prompto, Ignis, and Gladiolus. Whatever criticisms I have about the gameplay, one thing Final Fantasy XV nailed was the feeling of going on a road trip with the boys. The camping, car rides, pictures, cooking food, they feel like actual friends. And of course, they are very swaggy. If you know the meme of Noctis crashing the regalia, you know what I mean. Noctis can crash the whip and somehow come out with his aura untouched. The obvious thing about the group is that they all wear black. Because they all share one color palette, the silhouette, textures, and accessories have to separate them. Gladio wears an open black shirt, leather trousers, boots, wrist straps, and a prominent pendant necklace. His exposed upper body, tattoos, and rough biker-inspired styling communicate that he is the group's muscle before he even swings his sword. Prompto has the most punk-inspired outfit. He wears a sleeveless vest covered in patches and studs, fingerless gloves, dark leopard print trousers, and a red plaid layer underneath. Ignis looks refined. He wears a fitted black suit, a purple patterned shirt, driving gloves, glasses, and polished shoes. Noctis's early outfit is much more casual for someone who is a prince. He wears an unzipped military-style jacket covered in subtle skull details, a black shirt, cropped cargo trousers, boots with red soles, and one motorcycle-style glove. He looks like someone who was told he has royal responsibilities but responded by putting on cropped pants and going fishing. That fits where he is mentally. He has the title, but he's reluctant to accept everything attached to it. After the time skip, Noctis returns older and bearded. Once he reunites with his friends, he changes into the kingly raiment, the battle attire of the chosen king. The younger Noctis dresses like a prince trying to escape the role. The older Noctis dresses like a king who has accepted it. The group's clothes were designed by Hiromu Takahara of the Japanese fashion label Rowan. When you look at Rowan's real clothing, the connection becomes obvious. Luna Freya's wedding dress was an existing Vivienne Westwood design brought directly into the game. Alongside Rowan's work on the main cast, it shows how
fashion conscious
Final Fantasy XV was. That is where the boys' swag comes from. They share the same color palette, but their outfits still communicate who each person is. Their clothes speak before they do. And really, if your clothes do not represent you, why are you wearing them? Looking back at these characters, swag can come from many places. For Squall, it comes from the outfit, proportions, accessories, and the fact that his silhouette still feels relevant. For Lightning, it comes from aura strong enough to survive outside her original clothes. And for the Final Fantasy XV boys, it comes from clothing that communicates personality. People can have swag for completely different reasons. It might be the fit, the influence, the confidence, or just an unreasonable amount of aura. But after looking at all these characters, one thing is clear. Final Fantasy, as a series, has swag. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I know I focused mainly on main characters, so leave a comment on any other Final Fantasy character who you believe has swag.